Dabo Swinney, some big moves over the weekend. Fired his offense coordinator there at Clemson and was able to poach Garrett Riley from TCU. Clemson signed him to a 3-year, $5.25 million contract, making Garrett Riley one of the highest paid coordinators in all of college football. This is a guy that just won the Broyles Award, just had a phenomenal season with TCU. That offense was a big reason why, was the main reason why they had the season that they had. And also one of the main reasons why is what he was able to do with Max Duggan as the quarterback's coach. But Ted, people wondered if Dabo's loyalty to his staff and, kind of doing things internally would prevent something like this from happening. But to his credit, Clemson's offense has been underwhelming lately. Dabo did what he had to do, and that's a big get for that program.
Yeah, it is. That's, he's the hot star right now with what went on at TCU. And, I guess I can't really blame Garrett Riley for doing it. If you are if you're the hottest commodity out there and you've got an opportunity to maybe take a big gig with a bunch of money while you can, that you feel has a really bright future, you maybe jump on it. That you do have to feel like, even though I think they're going to be able to put some good players back together, do have to feel like TCU had, lightning in a bottle there for one season. Will they be able to replicate that? I don't know. I won't, take anything away from what they did, but that very easily could have been a totally different year for them. So I don't blame Garrett Riley for taking advantage of the situation whenever he's got a chance. Sometimes whenever you wait around a little bit too long, that moment passes you by.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of thinking, well, why would he do it? Right? Clearly the money is substantial, right? $1.75 million a year. That is a ton of money to coach football. It just is. But Dabo, he's made a lot of coordinators into head coaches, right? He has. And I just wonder, is it because Garrett Riley, maybe he thinks TCU can't replicate that success that they had this season? Or is he just viewing it as like, hey, I can go learn from, one of the best coaches in all of college football. Like Dabo's a goof, right? He's a goober, but I mean, the results are the results. Guys won national titles, and everyone, talks about how good the culture is there at Clemson. I wonder if not only Riley looks at it as a, opportunity to make a lot more money, to coach more talented players, right, with the way that Clemson recruits, but I wonder if he views it kind of as a better path to becoming a big-time head coach, learning from Dabo and learning about, what the keys have been for the amount of success that Clemson's had, even though they've had 2 disappointing years in a row. Like, it doesn't take away what they were able to accomplish, over the last decade.
Right. So let's see. He's been at Kansas, he's been at SMU, and now TCU, right?
Correct.
Do you know where he was before Kansas? Was he at Tech or?
Pull up the old Wikipedia real quick.
Well, the thing I'm kind of like, this will be his first shot. He definitely could have stayed at TCU. And after the run TCU had, there's no doubt that there's a lot more people aware of TCU. But like, this will be the first stop at, like, I don't consider Clemson a blue blood, but you know where I'm going. Like, that's an elite program right now. Like,
Yeah,
you're now at the elite. This is like you've made it.
He was a high school coach, and then Augustana College, which is a private school in Illinois. He was the running backs coach. Then he was a GA at East Carolina, and then was the outside wide receivers coach at East Carolina, then went to Kansas, then was the running backs coach at App State, then SMU, TCU, Clemson. So you talk about, that's a quick rise, man.
It is. It's a quick rise, and like this gives you legitimacy. Like you're no longer, and I know TCU is a Power 5 school, but like you've gone from a non-Power 5 school to the offensive coordinator at Clemson, one of the top elite schools in the country, in a year, right? In a calendar year. Like that's, you take that opportunity, like, because you got to lock yourself in with like the who's who of college football by going to an elite school. So I don't blame him at all.
Yeah. I will say, I wonder at what point he's going to be like, working for Sonny Dykes was a lot different than working for Dabo.
Yeah.
There's going to be that moment of realization, and maybe it's already taken place. But those are two very different dudes. Where do you
Yeah.
talk about Sonny and Dabo? So it's going to be, but maybe that's what Riley looked at. It's like, hey, this is another chance to learn from one of the best coaches, right? There's only a handful of coaches out there that have won multiple national titles. Dabo Swinney's one of them. I'll tell you this. I bet you Cade Klubnik's happy.
Yeah. Well, he's headed to, like, this isn't one of those situations where you're going to an elite program who's had one of the best offenses in the country and the offensive coordinator just got hired as a head coach somewhere to take another opportunity, and you're stepping into a situation where it's like, my goodness, they've been absolutely rolling. I've got to keep things going. It's a better situation to be stepping in to be able to improve some things. Their offense has been bad the last 2 years.
He's being viewed as the savior of that offense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely how, just the reaction to Clemson that I've seen from Clemson fans. That's how it feels. And hey, we'll see if Garrett Riley can do, what he did with Max Duggan this year. We'll see if he can do that with Klubnik, but hug your nearest TCU fan, people. Got
Right.
smacked in the title game, right? Especially the ones that were there getting rained on. Got smacked in the title game. Some of them got rained on, and then you lose your star young offensive coordinator. Just not a great week for the Horned Frogs. But I do wonder who is going to replace him. I mean, Sonny Dykes, there's a lot of people that want to go work for Sonny Dykes, right? Especially after the year that they just had. But Seth Luttrell available, Jake Spavital, remember, who was the Texas State coach who got let go? He's available. There's a name out there that seems to very much divide the TCU fan base every time it pops up. Some Kendall Briles smoke. And Sonny, this is the way I'll put it. Sonny Dykes has every TCU fan right now fired up and on his side. Hiring Kendall Briles would be like the only thing he could do that could get some TCU fans off his side. You got to remember, Gary Patterson and Art Briles hated each other. I mean, hated each other. So that's the only thing. And you've already seen some TCU fans be like, hey, no. Like, we got it. We got things going in a really, really good direction. Don't do it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fascinated by that as well. There's a lot of really good offensive coordinators out there. There's obviously those that have good connections. You mentioned Seth Luttrell. He and Sonny Dykes have known each other for a really long time. Seth was that head coach at North Texas and got let go, but obviously has had a lot of success as an offensive coordinator himself. So probably would be real comfortable stepping back into that role. Yeah. I don't know. It's a big hire for him. And I think Sonny's also hinted at that he may not want to coach for a whole lot longer. Like he's got a handful of years left in him, 4 or 5 years perhaps, and then he wants to step away. So, it could be a hire where, TCU kind of wants to start vetting, hopefully maybe the next name that takes over as head coach whenever Sonny Dykes steps away. So it's a big hire for sure.
Just don't put the coach in waiting label on him. Don't do it. Don't do it. Never
No.
turns out good.
No.
Never turns out good. But yeah, clearly that is going to be a lot of guys that want that job. And it's going to be really interesting to see who Sonny Dykes ends up hiring. Or, hey, maybe he elevates a guy like Malcolm Kelly. I don't know if Malcolm's a guy that wants to be a coordinator. Right? Some guys just want to be position coaches, just want to focus on, but maybe Malcolm's a guy that has ambitions of being an OC and wants to throw his hat in the ring. I don't know, but it seems like he'll have options, right? Like there's going to be a lot of people that want that job.
For sure. It's as good of a job as it's ever been right now, for sure.